Why Americans are losing trust in leaders. Welcome once again to another episode of Common Ground Conversations, where I tell you how I see it, where we just have a conversation. We talk about both sides of the aisle. So let's get started. The leadership crisis America isn't talking about. Does anyone really know what leadership or the definition of a leader or leadership is? The definition, according to Webster, is a leader is anyone who guides, inspires, or influences others to achieve a common goal. Now, if you look at our leaders today, are any of them inspiring, influencing, or guiding others to achieve a common goal? Now, think about that. A common goal. Are you kidding me? Now, look at our political leaders in anyone you see as a leader. Do they do this? Really? I have yet to see this out of any of our leaders. I challenge any of them to step up and stop their crying and stop being part of the problem and become part of the solution. Everyday Americans hear about political battles, economic concerns, crime, immigration, education, and countless other issues. Turn on the news, scroll through social media, or listen to political debate, and you'll find no shortage of people pointing fingers and assigning blame. But if you point your finger at somebody, notice you have three of them pointing back at you, which is telling me that you're probably part of the blame too as well. Especially those of you who decide to go out in public and go ahead and protest. Are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? I'm assuming you're probably part of part of the problem. So think about it for a minute. But what if many of the problems we're facing have a common root? What if America is experiencing a leadership crisis? I'm sure that's probably what it is right now. I mean, take a look at our leaders right now. Do you think they're actually leading us? None of our leaders are actually stepping up to the plate and taking that challenge. I challenge any of you to tell me or show me a leader who is not crying or pointing a finger at someone and trying to shift blame. When most of the time the blame may land in their court as well. They are probably part of the blame also. I'm not saying it's all on them, but I'm sure they're part of the blame as well. Leadership is more than holding a position. Too often we confuse authority with leadership. A title doesn't make someone a leader. Just because you're in a leadership position doesn't make you automatically a leader. We have all of our political people in those leadership positions. It doesn't make them a leader. Just because you're in Congress or the president of the United States or a vice president or any of those positions does not automatically make you a leader. You have to earn that job. You have to earn the respect. Being elected doesn't automatically make someone a leader. Being in charge doesn't guarantee you leadership. How many times have you heard someone say, you don't have to like the person, but you need to respect the job or the position? I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. You don't have to like the person who's in that position, but you should respect the position. You can dislike the person in there, but you need to respect his authority and his position, the job, but you don't have to like the person. Wouldn't it be great to have people start saying they respect not only the position, but the person in the position right now? Right now, you can't say that. The left hates everyone on the right in leadership positions, and the right hates everyone on the left in leadership positions. And that's a true, honest truth. I can guarantee you that you can't get to the right without them saying someone to the left they don't like, and vice versa. And they still go to work and see those people every day. How can you not like someone who works right across the hall from you? It's time to put on our big boy pants and walk across the hall and say, this has got to stop. We need to start working together. Real leadership is about responsibility, accountability, and service. It's about making decisions, and that may not be the most popular or be necessary, but it's time to start putting the mission ahead of personal gain and putting people ahead of politics. You are not going to please everyone all the time. But as long as both sides come together and the left and the right will come together as well, then we can start come to a common goal. As someone who spent years in the military or on the coaching staff of a football team, leadership is earned every day. You can you earn respect. You can't demand it. If you try to demand it, you will lose people on both sides of the aisle. I've seen this over and over and over. I do not respect anybody who demands respect from me. I will not ever give that person respect unless they earn it. So the missing ingredient is accountability. One of the biggest frustrations Americans have today is the feeling that accountability has become selective. Our leaders, I believe, have no idea what accountability is anymore. They now feel they only work for themselves. And this is true. If you listen to them on X or any of the social media platforms, that's all they're doing. They're preaching for themselves. They're not preaching for the public. They could care less for the public. And I'm talking from the president all the way down. They get the media on their side, and then the side who yells the loudest wins. When ordinary people make mistakes, they often feel the consequences of those mistakes. Whether discussing politicians, whether discussing politicians, corporations, or organizations, or public institutions, people increasingly question whether leaders are being held to the same standards they expect from everyone else. So, meaning that if I'm getting in trouble, I should be held to the same standards as the politicians, or the politicians should be held to the same standards as me. When powerful people make mistakes, many citizens feel those consequences are less certain. Our leaders are never held responsible for their actions. Don't get me wrong, we all make mistakes. So worse than others, some worse than others. So the penalty should fit the crime or fit the mistake. We're all going to make mistakes. We'll continue to make mistakes. Politicians will make mistakes. The public will make mistakes. Everybody will make mistakes. But let's hold people accountable. Our politicians are in those positions because we voted them in there. Let's vote them out if they continue to make mistakes, especially stupid mistakes, and keep their whining and crying. Nobody should be in those offices for 30 years or for their entire life. If a politician is telling protesters to become violent, then they need to be held accountable. If you or if you have organizations flipping the bill for violent protesters, then they need to be held accountable as well. When accountability disappears, trust soon follows. And when trust disappears, leadership becomes much harder. Our leaders need to grow up, become the leaders we elected them to be, and stop their whining and crying. Lessons from the football field. One reason I love coaching is the football teaches lessons that extend far beyond the game. Players watch everything as a coach, everything a coach does. They notice effort, they notice preparation, they notice consistency. Most importantly, they notice whether the standards apply equally to everybody. So if I'm giving a player certain discipline, then I make sure that it's across the board, not just the one player. If one player is held accountable while others get a free pass, the locker room notices immediately. The same principle applies in society. People may not agree with every issue, but they expect fairness. They expect consistency. They expect leaders to live by the standards they ask others to follow. And that is the biggest problem with our leaders, the lack of consistency. They don't apply the same set of rules to each side. The left says one thing and the right says foul, yells foul. The same goes to the right, and it's a never ending cycle. It's time for our leaders to grow up. Leadership requires courage. It's easy to lead when everyone agrees. It's easy to make decisions when there are no risks involved. The true test of leadership comes during difficult moments. But then we also need to have people that will back our leaders. That includes both sides of the aisle. Republicans and Democrats, as well as independents, need to back each other. We can disagree, and we can all agree to disagree, but we need to still come out to the end and to agree on the end. How can you handle pushback as a leader? Can you? If you look at our leaders today, both sides of the aisle, they can't handle pushback. They immediately start fighting and yelling foul. Here's some questions I want to ask and see if you can answer it, or I should say, see if your leaders can actually answer these questions truthfully and honestly. Can a leader tell the truth when it is unpopular? Can your leader admit to their mistakes? Can your leader take responsibility instead of shifting blame? Can they unite people who disagree? Now, I won't mention any names, but there are leaders on both sides of the aisle that these fall into, that none of the leaders could answer these questions. They may say they can, but they can't, because you can go back and it's all recorded and you can see what they said in the past. I challenge all of you listening to this episode to see if your leader can answer these questions truthfully and honestly. Take them to task. Ask them these questions, because they're unfortunately they cannot. Not one political leader out there can answer these questions, and that is a scary thought. These qualities are becoming increasingly rare in our leaders, and many Americans are hungry for leaders who can demonstrate them. Can your leadership or can your leader demonstrate these? I doubt it. What can we do? Well, it's easy. It's easy to focus on national leaders because they receive the most attention. But leadership doesn't necessarily begin in Washington. It begins at home. It begins in your schools. It begins in your churches. It begins on the football field. It begins in local communities. Every person has the opportunity to model the kind of leadership they wish they saw more often. The strongest leaders are always the loudest voice in the room. Often they're the people quietly doing the right thing every day, day after day. So here's my final thought. America has faced difficult periods before, and it will continue to face difficult periods again. The the challenges may change, but the need for strong leadership remains constant. Perhaps the answer isn't waiting for someone else to fix everything. Perhaps the answer begins with each of us choosing to lead where we are, with the people we are influencing every day. Because leadership isn't about power. It's about example. And examples have always been shaping our future. So if you look on X or any of the other platforms, you can see poor examples of leadership every day. People fighting and arguing and complaining. It's sad. And we are doomed if we keep leading our people that way. And I'm talking about our political leaders, and I'm talking about our protesters. We need to change this. If we can shape our little world that we live in, it will expand over time. It's like dropping a pebble into a calm lake. The ripple will expand throughout the entire lake. So become a leader. Lead. Be a leader that is respected. Thanks again for listening to my episode. If you like what you heard or saw, Please share with friends and family. Hit the like and subscribe button below. You all have an outstanding day. I'll catch you on my next episode.